This interview is the 20th in a series focusing on vendors who are selling their wares at the Western New York Welcome Center's Taste New York Market. In this vendor spotlight, John French, co-owner of Arbor Hill Grapery and Winery, discusses Arbor Hill's diverse products and enterprises, along with some business and marketing experiences, tips, and strategies. Spotlight on Arbor Hill Grapery and Winery.
My name is John French, and my wife and I own Arbor Hill. My wife is Sherry Bram, and Arbor Hill Grapery and Winery was started by my father-in-law, John Bram. He started Arbor Hill after concluding a 23-year career at Widmer Wine Cellars in Naples, where Hazlitt's is today. And the 23 years he spent there was preceded by him graduating from Cornell University with a degree in pomology. In 1971, while John was working at Widmer's, John and one of his brothers started Randall Standish Vineyards. What they did is they purchased the family farm, which had been a dairy farm, and converted it to primarily vineyards, and the milking barn became a press plant. So between the vineyards at Randall Standish Vineyards, which are still in the family, and vineyards that are over by our houses a mile away, we've got about 40 acres of vineyards. We grow 17 varietals in those vineyards, heirloom grapes as well as experimental grapes, many of which come from the experimental station that Cornell runs over in Geneva. In 1987, when John started Arbor Hill, it was right on the heels of Widmer's selling to Constellation. John didn't really have a burning desire to go be part of corporate America, and John and our current winemaker had actually started a product line at Widmer's, which was pretty successful, and it wasn't going to be part of what Constellation was going to carry forward, and it was Widmer wine jellies. So when Arbor Hill started, there was the Bram's Sherry wine syrup, Claret wine syrup, and also Arbor Hill wine jellies. Today we make more than 50 gourmet food products. We make salad dressings, such as our top-selling black raspberry celery seed dressing. We make mustards, like our oh-so-popular and delicious champagne garlic mustard. Makes a wonderful ham sandwich, and of course it's on every table out back in our restaurant, Brew and Brats at Arbor Hill, which is in the 170-year-old carriage barn right behind me. You have a sweet tooth? We have 3 delectable wine sauces. Our chocolate Cabernet Sauvignon wine sauce is as decadently delicious as it sounds. It has a couple of siblings because my wife likes every product to have a friend or two. So there is a strawberry cream Chardonnay wine sauce, and then here is the amaretto cream sherry wine sauce. They're all delicious over ice cream or cheesecake, and if Sherry's not around, I might occasionally be known to just sip it right out of the bottle. Naples, New York. We are the grape pie capital of the universe. There has been a grape festival going on for 60 plus years the last weekend of September. And more than 30,000 grape pies are baked in Naples every year from about September 15th until about the beginning of November. And we are the only entity around that ships grape pies. And to get a grape pie, you need to receive the grape pie in a couple of days because we ship it baked and frozen. However, if we want someone goes onto our website, thegrapery.com, and they want to order a grape pie, but don't want to pay the second day shipping to get it to California, let's say, what they can do is they can buy a grape pie in a jar, and this is our healthy purple topping and filling. Underneath the cute little bonnet is a recipe book, and it will tell you any number of ways to enjoy this product. So we have found many ways to bring that taste of the Finger Lakes, and specifically Naples, to people all over the U.S. I called that Healthy Purple Topping and Filling. Healthy Purple is a series of products that we produce here. Rich in antioxidants, our Healthy Purple Blueberry Preserve is another member of that family. Also in our Healthy Purple line is an extremely popular product, our Healthy Purple Grape Juice. This is a Concord grape juice that has never been concentrated. There's no water added to it. There is no sugar added to it. This is what grape juice tastes like. And because it's never been concentrated, you don't lose any flavor. So do yourself a favor at some point in time, try some Healthy Purple grape juice. You'll be elated at the flavor of it. It is pasteurized. It's the only thing we do to it. Pasteurize it and put it in the bottle. So I've mentioned that we make wine jellies, dressings, mustards, wine sauces. We also happen to make some other products. We make finishing sauces. 3 of those include our Vidalia Onion Riesling finishing sauce, our Lemon Caper Chardonnay finishing sauce, and our Cracked Peppercorn Sauvignon finishing sauce. Additionally, we make iced tea concentrates in 5 flavors. And with the iced tea concentrates, it says on the bottle, 5-to-1 ratio with water. You can mess with that all you like. Just a matter of taste. However, one of our retailers out in the Midwest was ordering more and more of the iced tea concentrates, and one day I asked her when she placed an order, "What are you doing that you're selling more of this than we are now?" And she giggled and she said, "Well, John, I'll tell you, we don't make it with water. I tell all of our customers, make it with ginger ale." So, lo and behold, I decided, well, I've got to see how that tastes. And I took a bottle of that on vacation with us, and a group of 10 of us in the family. I made a picture of it one night, just according to her instructions. And by golly, from age 6 to 72, everybody loved that particular concoction. So, needless to say, we added that to our restaurant, Brew and Brats, and that took off beautifully. Another thing you can do with the iced tea concentrates is you can take the iced tea concentrate, mix it with ginger ale, and because we are a New York State Farm winery, we get to play with the New York State Farm distilleries. So we have found that, in our case, Black Button vodka added to that makes for what we call a raspberry buzz. And we also make a peach buzz, which we use the Black Button gin for. So yet another way we keep things local here at Arbor Hill. In our restaurant, Brew and Brats, we use several of our gourmet food products with what we produce back there. Vidalia Onion Riesling finishing sauce is the key ingredient to our German potato salad. We also have a cheese pasta salad that we use our black raspberry celery seed dressing in. In our restaurant, Brew and Brats at Arbor Hill, we are able to incorporate a variety of products that we produce into the menu offerings. Our Vidalia Onion Riesling finishing sauce is the key ingredient to our German potato salad. Another side dish that we now make in retail format is our Winemaster's Sauerkraut. And that is a most unique sauerkraut, and I would not be able to unlock the doors to the restaurant if we did not have that ready to go every single day. Our best-selling product of anything that we do, our black raspberry celery seed dressing, that is the key ingredient to a cheese pasta salad that we make out back. And our pub beer mustard is made with our Frog Hollow Pale Ale beer. And our beers are produced for us by Twisted Rail. Originally, the brewer there was with another company called CB Craft Brewers, who initially brewed our beer. And when they closed, we followed the brewer over to friends of ours that own Twisted Rail, and they're doing a phenomenal job creating our three beers: Gully Washer IPA, Turtle Crawl Porter, and of course the Frog Hollow Pale Ale. Now the Turtle Crawl Porter, which happens to be my personal favorite, this does not grow on air. This requires constant maintenance, okay? Also has a local flavor to it. Finger Lakes Coffee Roasters makes a coffee called Witch's Brew, and there is 4.5 pounds of that coffee in every 300-gallon batch that is produced. So here at Arbor Hill Grapery and Winery, obviously winery is part of what we do. And since we produce 30-plus award-winning wines, ranging from dry reds to sweeter whites, people have been coming here for years to do wine tastings. And we also do wine flights. A wine flight is when you just walk in off of the street, whether you come to the store or you come to the restaurant, Brew and Brats, and you want to try a variety of wines. Well, we have figured out the easiest way to do that is give you a choice of 5 different flights from which to choose. And for a wine flight, you will get your servings. We put them on a tray, and you get to go sit down and enjoy them at your leisure. And all of the placemats have a little snippet about what each of the wines is all about. Alternatively, if you go to our website, thegrapery.com, you can book a wine tasting where you might have to endure listening to me explain wines to you, go through the history of some of the grapes, the pairings. We get into a lot of different topics, and it's a much more interactive, informative way to enjoy the wines. Whether you've got me or someone else from the staff, there's an awful lot of history that we like to share with people about our grapes. Many of our grapes are experimental grapes that we have acquired through Cornell. Alternatively, we have heirloom grapes, fancy way of saying old grapes. Unique varietals, such as Vergennes. We're the only winery on the planet that takes the Vergennes grape, historically grown as a table grape, and makes a varietal wine with it. It's actually our 3rd most popular wine. It's rather like a dry Niagara. Likewise, Diana. We're the only winery, again on the planet, that takes the Diana grape and makes a varietal wine with that. It's a Native American grape, just in case you were curious. Experimental grapes, Noiré, a delightful dry red, came out of Cornell in 2006 and is our 2nd most popular wine of anything we bottle. But our signature wine is Classic Traminette. My father-in-law back in the early 80s acquired some of these. He was part of the study actually in how the Traminette grape was going to do. And in the wine cellar at the house, about a year ago, we were cleaning out John's wine cellar, and we came across these bottles which were from the earliest bottlings of Traminette before it even had a name. The grape did extremely well in our climate, and the pH of the soil, it all just worked out beautifully. And when all was said and done, John had seen this as going to be a great grape, and he had started propagating more of them in our vineyards. And in 1996, Arbor Hill was the first commercial winery to ever produce a Traminette varietal. So our Classic Traminette is our signature wine because we've won more awards for that than anything else that we do. And if you like spicier cuisine like Indian or Thai food, it's a great wine to enjoy. And assuming you celebrate Thanksgiving, either a dry Traminette or a Classic Traminette is wonderful to have with your meal, and it satisfies anyone's palate. Arbor Hill Grapery and Winery was founded in 1987 by my father-in-law, John Bram. And always the visionary, entrepreneur, lifelong learner, and Cornell graduate. John started his career after Cornell running the vineyards at Widmer's, both here in New York State and then beyond New York State. In 1987, when Widmer's was sold to Constellation, John decided he wanted to do something a little bit different and flex his entrepreneurial skills, and so he started Arbor Hill. Gourmet food products is a core of what we do, but additionally, we also make 32 award-winning wines. Our signature wine is our classic Traminette, and John was one of the pioneers of Traminette, helping Cornell with the studies of how successful that grape would eventually become. And we actually have bottles of Traminette before it even had the name Traminette. It was just a bunch of numbers. And for those that aren't familiar with Traminette, it's a hybrid of Gewürztraminer. It's actually a hybrid of Gewürztraminer and JS 23417. Useless information that you now are stuck knowing. Learned an awful lot from John in the years I got to work with him. I am the beer drinker that married the winemaker's daughter, so that's how I come to be talking to you today. But Classic Traminette is our signature wine, and he definitely poured his heart and soul into Arbor Hill, and like we try to carry on today, making sure every visitor to Arbor Hill has a wonderful experience. Cheers. So we're here today in one of the vineyards of Arbor Hill Grapery and Winery, and the vineyard scene behind me is a 165-year-old vineyard that we still have to hand harvest today. Predominantly Niagara grapes and Delawares are in this particular vineyard. Last year we harvested about 8 ton out of this particular vineyard, and down off of camera is another vineyard that we machine harvest, which would be our Valvin Muscats, a wonderful Cornell grape that's key to our Moscato. But besides the history lesson of the vineyard, what I wanted to talk about is social media. Social media is key today for Arbor Hill for promoting our brand. We utilize Facebook. We'll do Facebook Live videos periodically, and we also are active on Instagram and YouTube, and probably some other channels that I'm not even aware of. I'm smart enough to realize that I can't do everything, so we have a wonderful marketing manager that takes care of all of that in-house, and Angela's very well-rounded, also helps manage the store, and Arbor Hill wouldn't be feasible today to operate without the great staff that we've got. A general manager helps keep everything running. We have a manager for our production department, another manager for the restaurant. So again, surrounding myself with smart people works out well, and it allows me to come out here to the vineyards periodically and take pictures, which I then shovel right over to Angela for the social media work. My wife does a lot of the label creation work for the Arbor Hill products, and it has done so for years. And my wife and her dad really spent many years, probably 25 plus, growing the Arbor Hill entity to what it is today. I'm often asked, how has the pandemic of 2020, 2021 impacted Arbor Hill? Well, on March 20th of 2020, when New York State went into pause mode, we did something a little bit creative, or using the buzzword of the day, we pivoted, And we actually closed our winery gift shop and spent the next 4 months remodeling it. And meanwhile, we opened up our restaurant, Brew and Brats, at Arbor Hill, 7 days a week, doing curbside pickup and deliveries. People were able to come in and get their wines, their dressings, their mustards, and if they so chose, they could have a meal to go. So that was one way we worked within the framework of the pandemic. Additionally, some people came out and did work in the vineyards that had never done vineyard work before, so we were able to keep people busy despite the fact that there was very minimal foot traffic. Our online sales through the grapery.com exploded to beyond even Christmas, normal Christmas levels of activity. And then when we reopened, our restaurant was already set up to do outside dining, which was no problem. However, to do wine tastings and juice tastings did require us to once again pivot, and we created a new format for how we do wine tastings and also wine flights, so that we could keep people socially distant and both staff and patrons safe, and ultimately doing the wine tastings in that format where people go and book the wine tasting online really allowed for an exceptional customer experience. And it's one of the bonuses of the pandemic is that it forced us to try and do some things differently. And that's just one of the starkest things of the pandemic that will last going forward. We are also in the throes right now of architectural drawings and expansion of the Brew and Brats carriage barn. After 170 years, I guess we figured it finally needed a couple of bathrooms at the back end of it to accommodate our patrons, and at the same time we will also add another cooler to the basement of that building, and I may not have to carry kegs up the hill, roll them up the hill from the basement to the upstairs where we consume the kegs of beer, because we will incorporate a dumbwaiter into it. The staff, it's kind of hard to know whether the staff is more excited about the bathrooms or the dumbwaiter, but it'll be a big boon when we get there. So what's the future of Arbor Hill? Well, the future of Arbor Hill is wait and see. I surround myself with smart employees who are all like family. Well, some of them are family actually. And brainstorming away, we have visions for what to do to create even better experiences for customers when they visit us at Arbor Hill. Additionally, we look to add to our gourmet food product lines and increase our distribution from the 30 states we're at now to even further outlets. And that's probably the short version of that answer for you.
Thank you to John French for enthusiastically sharing the story of Arbor Hill Grapery and Winery, with its more than 75 grape, wine, gourmet food, snack and gift products, the associated retail shop, commercial kitchen, packing plant and warehouse, Brew and Brats restaurant, and active vineyards overlooking Canandaigua Lake. If you are in the Canandaigua, South Bristol, Naples, New York area, or planning a trip to the Finger Lakes, be sure to stop by. Live music is featured every Friday and Saturday, May through October, at Brew and Brats at Arbor Hill. See the events listing on Arbor Hill's webpage, www.thegrapery.com. Arbor Hill products are available in many of the Taste New York markets across New York State, including the Western New York Welcome Center on Grand Island, as well as through a growing list of wholesale and retail markets and distributors in the region and throughout the country. Online sales options are available on the shop link on the webpage. Arbor Hill continues to follow COVID-19 protocols. Staff-guided tastings are by reservation only. Self-guided wine flight tastings, served under Arbor Hill's outside tents, have been one of the COVID-19 accommodations. The store has returned to year-round daily operations. 12 to 5 Monday through Thursday, and 11 to 5 Friday through Sunday. As a family-owned business, John and Sherry French continue the tradition of grape growing and wine and food production started in the early 1900s by Anna and Elmer Standish and advanced by Sherry's father and mother, John and Katie Brom. Brom's opened their farm winery in 1987. Arbor Hill Grapery and Winery, along with the associated enterprises, is an example of how small businesses in New York State are continually adjusting to changes in the economy and markets as they strive to make locally grown, manufactured, or processed and packaged foods, beverages, goods, and services available to consumers throughout the state, region, and beyond.